Good morning, Americans, Patriots. Top of the morning to you, early morning. And I'll give you my intake on the whole KARMELO Anthony murder thing. No, not KARMELO Anthony, the old New York Knick. KARMELO Anthony, the track star out in Texas. I waited for days for stuff to come out. Checked out both his and Austin's social media. I know the media wants to play up the race game because this is how they get everyone stirred up. This is how they destroy neighborhoods. And that's what the media likes to do. But this has nothing to do with race. I know one kid was black and one kid was white, but you look at these two kids, they're both raised in two-parent homes. Both raised in, looks like, middle to upper middle class families. Looks like go to very nice school districts. Both very involved in school activities. Both played sports. Don't know what their grades are like. I'm going to give them both the benefit of the doubt. Assume their both grades are good. And Austin had plenty of black friends according to some social media. And KARMELO Anthony had plenty of white friends according to his social media because he grew up in mostly a white neighborhood, looks like. And these two kids didn't even know each other until they saw each other that faithful, 5 to 10 minute period. So the fact that they charge him with first degree murder, yeah, good luck trying to prove that one. Everyone's trying to compare this to George Zimmerman and Kyle Rittenhouse, which is absolutely insane. That's people desperately trying to reach for something that's not there. Now, I know there's in Texas where they have stand your ground laws and yet they castle doctrine. The only thing I didn't find out was how big the knife was. Now, in the grand scope of things, does that mean anything? No, I mean, Austin's dead, so that's the bottom line. But the Texas gun laws are a lot different than the New York gun laws. In New York, you can only have a pocket knife no bigger than 4 inches on you. And it can't be a switchblade or anything a switchblade, except unless you're law enforcement. In Texas, you can carry a knife up to 5.5 inches, including minors, but anything over that, you are allowed to carry, but not if you're minor, unless you're under adult supervision, or actually you can, only in certain locations. So the knife laws are pretty good down there in Texas. And I do mean that. I think they are good. I mean, people should be able to carry what they want to protect themselves. Now, is this a self-defense case? No. Okay, the way stand your ground works is if you are legally able to be in a place where it happens, you can defend yourself. But also in every state, whether you have stand your ground or not stand your ground laws, you cannot use self-defense, let alone forget about deadly force, if you instigate the incident. Now, it seems like it was raining out. Both these kids, KARMELO Anthony and Austin, were in a track meet. It was raining. I guess KARMELO Anthony decided he was going to sit under the opposing team's tent with the opposing team. He says, look, you don't belong. He's out 10. You need to leave. And he said, I ain't leaving. And I guess what they say is, put your hands on me and see what happens to you. Okay, first of all, I know it's a tent on school grounds. I think it was school grounds. So he was allowed to be there. But that's like a football player sitting on the other team's sidelines and hanging out with them. And then try to start stuff over there. You can't do that. Or sit in the opposing team's dugout. And instigate. You can't do that. Well, here, I don't care if it's raining. You have a tent you go to on your team. You go sit with your team. Do not go sit on another team's tent and expect you to welcome you with open arms. This has nothing to do with race. This is more of a competition thing. What's our rival doing sitting in our tent? You don't belong here. And anyone who was 17, remember how much pride, ego, and hormones get in the way. Kids do stupid things. And unfortunately, you have two families that have their lives ruined now. One, because Austin's dead. And two, Austin's going to be doing time in a state correctional facility. And here's the other thing that's going to kill it. One, he was in the opposing team's tent. Two, he refused to leave. Three, he instigated it. And four, which is why he won't take the stand, why were you carrying a knife when you were participating in a track meet? That alone right there is a killer. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think they're going to convict this guy of first-degree murder. To say this is premeditated for two kids, I think, who've never met before, if I got my information right from what I've researched, maybe murder second. But if his lawyer is smart, he'll have him plead down to manslaughter. And he may do about, I don't know, anywhere from 7 to 15 years. In a state correctional facility. Because there's no way he's going to win this case. I know what Stand Your Ground says. I also know that you can't go to another team's tent, instigate something, challenge him, and then use deadly force when all the guy did was push you. Now listen, if he had his hands around your throat and you could show visible signs he was trying to choke you to death, you may have a case. Depending on how bad Austin might have gotten beaten up in that situation. But to push you or someone grab you and you turn around and stab someone in the chest, that is not justifiable self-defense. Someone grabbing you to get you out of their tent. Maybe assault. Maybe. Again, he's in the opposing team's tent. But it's not justified as deadly physical force. And here's the other thing that just scratches my head. They have given this guy a GoFundMe account. He has raised over $1 million, and the family is now living in a gated community in a $900,000 house. And they have bought a $150,000 Cadillac Escalade. Even though the bond was reduced from $1 million to $250,000. I think it was reduced too much. Because this kid had no record, I'd say maybe $500,000. And maybe $1 million might have been too excessive. $500,000 is fair. $250,000, I think that was too low. He's home, he's wearing an ankle bracelet. He cannot have any discussions with any of the students at school. He can't participate in any school activities. Can't even go to school. There you go, you got a junior. I'm assuming he's a junior. He's not going to be able to finish the rest of his year. He may not even finish high school. It's a shame because both these kids seem to have a lot going for him. So, I'm KARMELO Anthony. You're gonna be doing time, dude. This is not Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse was chased, despite the fact he had an AR-15, by a ex-felon who was a sexual child predator. And he shot him when he was cornered. Some guy didn't try to hit him, tripped him up, hit him with a skateboard, and he shot him. Then another guy who was also a criminal pointed an illegal gun because he's an ex-felon, and he shot his bicep off. Kyle Rittenhouse retreated several times from 3 different individuals and was cornered. This is not the case here. George Zimmerman was on a neighborhood watch. And George Zimmerman was on the ground getting his head pounded into the pavement by Trayvon Martin, who was on top of him, screaming for help. Now, if what he says, well, he should have listened to the cop and not gone over there. Well, it wasn't a cop, it was a dispatcher. And a dispatcher is nothing more than a civilian employee. And Trayvon Martin still attacked him and brutally tried to kill him. And Trayvon Martin had a record. And not a good record. This is not the case here. KARMELO Anthony had 0 record. Austin did have a record. This is a case of, I don't know what happened here, raging hormones and pride and ego. Over what? It is sad to see. I've been saying this country's been on a spiritual attack for a long time. So is the world. This is just another example of it. Something that just doesn't make any sense. 2 kids who grew up in 2 good homes. Pretty nice lifestyles. Had a lot going on for them. Now 2 lives and 2 families are shattered. Comments down below. What's your opinion? Like to know? Keep the country in prayer. And by the way, why would you buy a Cadillac Escalade with the money you got for your legal defense fund? I mean, I know you're out in bail, but I mean, how does the Cadillac Escalade help you in your legal defense? And by the way, the Cadillac Escalade, even though it looks nice, expensive junk. And do you really need to live in a rent a $900,000 home in a gated community? Whatever. Questions, comments? We'll talk to you later.